Hello, this is Scott. Just a quick word before the video starts for today. I forgot to give a shout out to my buddy Susan on her birthday. Susan, happy birthday. I hope you had a great day. Thanks. Hey everybody, it's Scott. It is day 4 of my PCT adventure, and I thought I'd give you an update about what's happening at Lake Morena. I spent the night last night in the cabin, but had an invited guest. It just so happens that after I checked in and got my stuff moved in, I was walking back down to take a shower, and I ran across a group of people. Two of those people I had met online prior to starting the PCT. I knew that we were starting on the same day, and I just reached out to just sort of friendly banter, as I thought I might see them at the start, and I didn't see them at the start. But it was a mother and daughter combo who are actually hiking with 3 dogs. And I was really concerned when I learned that they were 3 little bitty dogs. I'm talking 5-6 pounds. These weren't like big athletic dogs that could, or sheep dogs or herding dogs or working dogs or anything. These were dogs that you usually hold in your lap and you pet and you carry in your purse. But they had 3 little dogs that they were hiking with, and it was a bit crazy. They intend to go all the way to Kennedy Meadows, which is 702 miles across the desert, with those 3 dogs. And I just can't believe that. But they were standing with a young kid who was about 6 feet tall and about 140 pounds, maybe 45. Just a stick of a kid who started the trail just yesterday morning. So he did the entire 20 miles in a stretch, and it was raining at the time. He was shivering like crazy, and he was faced with pitching his tent in the campground. And I got to thinking about the extra bunks that I have in my cabin. There they are. And I thought, well, maybe I should invite him to stay with me. So I asked him if he could share in the cost of the cabin for the night or nights that he wanted to stay. And he said that he only had $10 on him, cash. And he has a credit card, but he wasn't quite sure how to work that since the room had already been paid for. But ultimately I said, you know what, why don't you just stay with me? Not a big deal. So he did. Logan was his name, a super nice kid. I really enjoyed talking with him. He's got obviously a life story. Just did a couple of years in the Peace Corps. Maybe it was closer to a year in the Peace Corps. And is getting ready to start grad school in August, and was just taking the time between the Peace Corps and grad school to do this PCT. And he's doing it on a shoestring budget for sure. So he and I talked for hours, really interesting and nice kid. And we walked into town and got stuff to eat and stuff like that. And, he was a nice kid. But when I was asking him if he wanted to stay, I felt kind of bad for the mom and daughter, who were also both freezing, after having sweated walking the trail to get to Lake Morena, and then standing around as it just got colder and colder, and the wind started to blow and the rain started to fall. They were just freezing. So I told them there were cabins available. The mother dropped her pack and went to the ranger station, of course, to find out that they don't allow dogs in the cabins. And I felt bad about that, but quite honestly, they probably ought to get used to that, because the dogs are going to be a chore, and I'm not sure how well they're going to fare. So they literally pitched their tents in the campground last night, and the wind last night was howling. I would imagine it was raining sideways up here, because it was it was crazy. And these cabins have metal roofs, and it really sounded like there were BBs falling on the roof all night long. It was a heavy downpour and lots of wind. And of course, it was supposed to be snowing at 3,500 feet. So it rained into the morning, but my guy Logan said he was taking off. He packed up his pack, loaded it on his little stick frame, and I went up to the malt shop with him, offered to buy a cup of coffee for him. He declined, thanked me profusely, and I took a little picture of myself and Logan, and I'll add that right here, right there. Anyway, that's Logan. He has an Instagram. He is blogging for an organization called the Trek, and I don't think they contract with anybody, but they reach agreements with people who are hiking around the country to do video vlogging and written blogging, and he might be doing a little bit of both. But he is doing that for the Trek, and so we took selfies together. He's going to post a picture on his blog. I'm posting on my YouTube and my Instagram. And so, and I'll keep in touch with that kid because he was an interesting kid, and I liked him a lot. Anyway, so I mentioned in an earlier video that I had 2 nights here. I have desperately been trying to get a 3rd night here because the really bad stuff is now forecast to hit tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, so I'm trying to get tomorrow night at the cabin, which would be the 3rd night for Pete's sake. Like I say, there are at least a dozen of us sort of holed up here waiting for the weather. And there's probably another dozen or more hikers that are pitching their tents at the campground because they don't want to head up to 6,000 feet, which is about 12 miles from here, and 8 miles before we get to Mount Laguna. So it's a weather crazy thing. Anyway, I just wanted to give you that update. I will film a little bit more from my time in Morena and share that with you too. So thanks, y'all. Talk to you soon. Good morning, everyone. It's Scott. Hey, I thought I would share a little bit this morning, an update about what's happening, why I'm still at the cabin, how long I might be here, and give you guys an idea of just really what's going on. So just to recap, I got here to the cabin on Monday and paid for 2 nights, Monday night and Tuesday night. Primarily because the forecast above 3,500 feet was really terrible in terms of cold and snow. And it has been raining near nonstop here at Lake Morena since I arrived. There was a break yesterday afternoon of a few hours, but other than that, it's been nonstop rain. So I paid for an additional night, so I'm also going to stay tonight. But I am pretty well intent on leaving tomorrow, no matter the circumstance. There are a couple of nice days forecast coming up, and if I have to endure a bad day weather-wise on trail, that's okay because it's followed by a couple of nice days. And look, I can't avoid the weather on this trip. I just can't. I'm going to get caught in this rain, and I feel sort of defeated that I'm only a few days into my adventure and I've now spent more time at this cabin than I have actually hiking, and I just don't feel good about that. So I'm gonna take off tomorrow. So I thought I would give you an idea of what my food is like while I'm hiking. So this is the food that I have packed. It's on the bed in the cabin. I've laid out on the sleeping bag the food that I'm gonna take, and I call this 2+. This is a 2+ food supply that's an anticipated 2 days plus an extra day just to be on the safe side should something come up and I need to spend more time on trail. Or if I get into the next town and there's a limited resupply, I'll already have a day with me. So I just wanna make that clear that this is probably more than I will need for a 2-day hike. So this is the food that I'll be taking. So I have some flour tortillas. Looks like it's a pack of 10 soft flour tortillas. And on those tortillas, I can do several things. One, I have this very heavy jar of peanut butter. I am a peanut butter fanatic, and the calorie content is very helpful for a hiker. 190 calories for every 2 tablespoons. Well, that's pretty good. So I went ahead and bought the whole jar, and I guarantee you I'll eat all that. So I also have a couple of jelly packets, grape jelly packets that I got at a restaurant. So I can do peanut butter and jelly tortillas. I also have 3 tuna packets, 1 honey barbecue, and a couple of ranch tuna packets that I can also add to the flour tortillas, wrap them up and have a tuna tortilla. So that is kind of lunch right there. And then, or lunch or dinner, I should say, depending on what the day is shaping up to be. I do have this Mountain House biscuits and gravy. That is a freeze-dried meal that I add hot water to, stir it up, and I hear that's really good. I've not tried the biscuits and gravy yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, that sounds like a breakfast thing, but I can eat that at any time. I just feel like I need something hot. The same is true for the ramen. I have a ramen here that I can have for dinner. I have Pop-Tarts I can also eat at any time, probably for breakfast. It's really quick and easy to just rip one of those packets open, wolf down a couple of Pop-Tarts, and head out on my hike. These 2 cookies are Lenny and Larry's. They're called the Complete Cookie. And each one of those 2 cookies is 440 calories. So that is packed full of solid nutrition, and any one of these could be lunch on the trail. And quite honestly, if I didn't think it was enough, I might put a little peanut butter on those cookies and eat them as well, even though the cookie himself is peanut butter chocolate chip. Then I have snacks, and the snacks are what you might expect. I have a couple of almond Snickers bars and a regular Snickers bar, a Cliff bar, a couple of Nature Valley bars. This is my friend Logan, who spent the first night in the cabin with me, gave me this as a way of thank you. And it's, oh no, this is the one he gave me. He gave me this Nutso. He's actually sponsored by this company, Nutso, and they provide him with those bars, and he asked me if I'd try it. I can't remember where I got this one. It sounds absolutely terrible. 3 egg whites, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates, and no bullshit. That's what it says. And then a banana over here, but I'm gonna eat that now. I'm not gonna take that with me. So that is the food that I'll have for 2+ hiking days. I think it's plenty in terms of snacks, breakfast potential, lunch potential, and dinner potential. I think it's all really good.